Well, I want to thank the Utah Debate Commission for the tremendous debate that we had today. It was well organized. I think the technology went off appropriately and correctly. I felt comfortable with the social distancing and the precautions that were taken around the COVID response. And I also was grateful for, I think, a robust and good discussion among candidates. I think that's what we really need in this race, is an opportunity for candidates to lay out not only their vision, but their experience and qualifications that will make them the type of congressman that will represent Utah for years to come. This is one of those circumstances where our last congressman was there for 18 years. Before that, it was 22 years. In 2 decades now, we've had 2 congressmen from this district, people from this district. And we need to be prepared to replace that seniority with someone who can hit the ground running on day one and truly make a difference representing our state. This district is crucially important for the entire state. As you know, it's not necessarily a swing district. And what that means is it allows for this person to show real leadership in Washington, D.C., to be able to step out on issues that are critical and important and be able to show leadership and do things that might not be able to be done in other districts. And so I'm grateful to have had some opportunities and experiences in my life that I think have prepared me well to offer that kind of representation. And I look forward to standing up for the people in this district and throughout the state and truly making a difference for them as we move forward. I will just say this in closing and then take any questions, but one of the best parts for me about public service, in fact, I would say the best part, has been the opportunity that I've had to get to know people and to work with them. We talked about bipartisanship down on the floor a minute ago, and I'm grateful to see Senator Hale, who I consider one of my dearest friends from my time in the legislature. I'm grateful for her dedication to our community. But getting to know them and working for them, some of my best accomplishments and the things that I'm the most grateful for were the times when I was able to hear someone's story and take their story into the halls of the state legislature and be able to fight for them when no one else was fighting for them. That's why I want to serve. In addition to the fact that I have an obligation to those who have sacrificed for me to make sure that my freedoms were maintained, and I want to do the same for them. So thank you for a great debate. Thank you to all of you for your participation. I know that there's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes on to make all this happen. You're here pounding away on the computer and taking care of the technical details that so many people miss and take for granted sometimes. And so I give you my true thanks for your willingness to serve. And last but not least, when you're on the campaign trail, it is tough. Sometimes there's a lot of things, a lot of pressures, and I want to thank my sweet wife, Katrina, who couldn't be with me on the debate floor. She's too beautiful to be hiding behind that mask, but I am so grateful for her and the support and comfort that she gives me when she's with me. Katrina, you have made the difference for me. Thank you so much.
Any reporter questions out there? We had one that came in on social media that wanted to know about your views on balancing land use with development, how you would approach that problem in Congress.
Land use with development.
Preserving land, using land.
Oh. Okay. Well, in all honesty, that sounds like a local issue to me and a state issue. It's something that I've dealt with in my experience as a county commissioner and as a state legislator, but we ought to drive land use decisions closer to home. I'm a firm believer in the concept of federalism, which means that there's just a few enumerated duties and responsibilities of the federal government, and most of the others are much more effectively addressed at the local and state level. Now, granted, counties and municipalities are subdivisions of the state, and frankly, the state has the sovereign responsibility in those cases. But any time that we can push, even from a state level, that decision-making process into the local levels, we are so grateful for that because it makes more sense. But what it is related to, and I'm going to tie it into something that I'm passionate about, is the fact that we live in a state where 70% of our land is owned by the federal government, nearly 70% of our land. And I think that principle holds true in that case as well. we need to be more actively involved in the state of Utah in managing the affairs of our public lands and our federal lands. And I think we have made great strides over the last few years, where the federal government is now understanding that state governments and local governments, local county commissioners, truly do have a seat at the table and truly do have a lot to offer when it comes to the management of our federal lands within our state. So that's something that I'm going to push for if I'm fortunate enough to be elected as your congressman. I'm going to make sure that we recognize that local management is a key part of the federal land policy debate. And I'm prepared to be an active and willing participant in that process from day one, as any congressman should be from this district who comes from a state where nearly 70% of our land is owned by the federal government.
There was another earlier question from social media that wanted to know your thoughts on Roe v. Wade overturning abortion, women's right to privacy. What would you say to that?
I'm 100% pro-life. I believe that it's important for us to value all life, whether it's the life of each and every one of us, the life of the elderly, or the life of those not yet born. And so I would support the type of judges that our president has nominated in the past that believe in the sanctity of life, not only on adults, but with the unborn as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.